Did the independence of Singapore change anything inside the naval base? You were at the time in the finance department still, right?
Yes, yes, in 65, yes. No, not much. No change, actually. We were still enjoying under the way of the British administration until 1968, when the dockyard became a commercialized shipyard in 1968.
Did the British announcement, right, that they're going to pull out faster, and later on the dockyard commercialized into a shipyard, as you said, Sembawang shipyard, did that surprise you?
Yes, we were wondering how can we actually attend to the commercial vessels, because all our workforce was exposed to all military naval vessels, the destroyers, the frigates, the aircraft carriers and supply ships. I don't think any of them have seen those commercial vessels, even fishing vessels coming into port those days. So in a way, the managing agents, Swan Hunter Group, has actually very capably able to turn the workforce from those background into commercial thinking. That, when you have a commercial vessel coming, you are looking at turnaround time. You have to finish the work and return it to the owners, so we can, for the space, we can bring in more vessels and things like that. So that was a big lesson for a lot of us to learn.
Just for context, Singapore government was not confident that about running the Sembawang shipyard, so they had this British firm, right, marine firm called Swan and Hunter, to come in and manage the shipyard for a few years.
Yes.
Tell us, Peew, what are the differences in terms of naval work and commercial work?
Like I said, as I see how the work habit was, attending to naval crafts, I don't think there was a sense of urgency in the sense. It's like, you're there to do that part of the work, you just do it and get it done with. Just like about no deadline, and quite unlike a commercial vessel, like I said, they need turnaround. They want to come in and get whatever need done, fitted, fixed, and then off they go. So that was the, I think, major difference. Guys will have to look at what they call, the ship, some list, they call it a repair list, that the owners or the managers of the ship has in place for the shipyard, who's awarded the contract, to look at. So they have to go through the whole job list and then do it according to the time that's given us to turn the ship around.
So am I right to say the work is more or less the same, but the pace of the work, the volume of the work, very different?
Oh yes, I can say that, yeah. Not as laid back. Those days were a little laid back.
Well, I have 2-hour lunch. Is that possible?
Well, you still have an hour's lunch break. We always have. Even when the shipyard was incorporated, the Employment Act allows us 1 hour lunch break. So we still have that is 1 hour spent. Of course, it's unpaid. So we have 8 hours work from 8 to 5 instead of 8:30 to 4. So yeah, longer working hours.
Yeah, we're going to do a deep dive into this change. Yeah. So maybe just to look at the bigger context a little bit. So when the British left, the government acted very quickly to take over the real estate, including the naval base, the staff quarters, and of course that dockyard, the naval dockyard. They used to service the naval ships.
Yes.
That would now, they decided to make it into a business, a project,
Yes.
right? run by Swan Hunter. And that meant a big change for the people who worked there. So tell us, Pew, your father, was he still working in the dockyard at the time?
Yes, very much so. He was working right through until he was told when he was 55 in 1969 that he's due for retirement. He came back home and tell me, son, I'm retiring. I said, you retiring for what? He said, I'm 55. I'm retiring. So I said, what then? He said, oh, the company has offered us retirees year to year, subject to health, to continue if we like. So he continued as fit as he was to be able to work. He continued to work.
69, the shipyard was already commercialized, right?
Yeah, 68. 1st December, actually.
Yeah, correct.
1st December 1968, it was commercialized and called Sembawang Shipyard Private Limited.
So did he continue? So he continued with the shipyard. Okay.
Yeah, they were offered employment and continued. We were also, when we were in the dockyard, we went through a selection, an interview process to be selected over to continue our employment. Those who opt to continue with shipyard submit the application and get interviewed and recommended by the bosses. So that's how we got our continued work in the shipyard.
Actually, I'm very interested, Pew, in what you just said just now. A lot of during the British pullout, a lot of the clerical workers, right, they had to go undergo retraining under the BEC, the Basis Economic Conversion Department. Was that also something that you encountered?
Yes, we were told that those retraining schemes and programs were available to any one of us. And I think we have a few friends who opted to attend those retraining. And yeah, but one of them at least went and then he came back to continue with his clerical duties. In fact, he told me he went for a course on tracing, technical drawing tracing. He wants to be a tracer. He's an artist himself, so he thought it was easy. And I don't know why he didn't pick it up after that.
Yeah, I think we should emphasize that retraining was very tough, right?
Because, we were not really, we didn't have the mindset at the time, the urgency and the need for all those things. Maybe our mind was still very untrained in a way of the economic complexities and things like that, and also how it might affect the country nationally with a situation when you have a vacuum suddenly, of the British leaving 10,000 people unemployed, not counting the army, not counting the Air Force, and the indirect employees like those AMAs.
Yeah.
So that would be a huge vacuum of unemployment. So we didn't see all that enormity at one go. We're just taking it day by day and say, if there's a job, we continue to work and things like that. We'll try and thrive on.
I mean, I would imagine the older you are, right, the harder it will be to retrain.
Oh yes, because of the mindset.
I mean, if you have been working as a clerk for 30 years, how do you retrain?
Yes.
Yeah. Did your father was he continued as
the same
fitter,
trade? No,
right?
yeah.
So not a problem for him. Right.
Yes.
Do you know anyone? Yeah, inside the finance department, right, who were older and had to be retrained?
No, not that I know, but I know of some friends who are from another department. Like there was one late friend who used to be working for the equivalent to the public works here, the civil works. And then he was retrained to be a welder. So it's totally from masonry to welding, and this is commercial welding. So it was totally, I don't know how he managed it, but he he made it good.
He did
He
it.
became a lead man in the team later on. We call it a chargeman. He became a chargeman,
Right, right.
and he did good.
So
Yeah, no
I
problem.
want to ask, what happened when the British announced that they were leaving? How did that affect your families?
Okay, so 1968, I think, right? But what we remembered was a decision whether to stay or to leave. Many of our friends and neighbors, they were thinking of leaving and going to settle in UK. My father was very strong Lee Kuan Yew supporter. So he said, no, he will never leave Singapore. He felt that, his life had gotten so much better since coming to Singapore. So, and he said he will stay put. While many of them actually were trying to persuade us to leave, there would be better opportunities in UK. And so they left to migrate to UK, and they were offered, I think, citizenship there. The rest, I think, started moving out of the naval base, and soon we also moved out of the naval base. It was much cheaper to stay in the base, but once the British left, there was not much choice that we had to move out also.
Did you lose some of your friends?
For me, because I'd moved, I was in RI at that time, so a lot of my friends were from school. But yeah, I think Alfred, we were very close friends, and then we moved. After that, we lost touch a bit, for a while. And then I think we made attempts to get in touch. I think Archie, probably for you, it was a change as well, right?
Yeah. For me, my mom was when my dad died in 1967. The British gave my mom a job, but my mom didn't have a full certificate and she didn't have citizenship. But British gave her a job because she could read and write English. Then when the British pulled out, we were affected in the sense that the Singapore government didn't give her a job to carry on. So we had to leave the housing, the hospital quarters, but we were lucky enough to get a nice semi-D house in Chong Pang area. But we were already on the widows and children's support scheme from the British government, but it wasn't enough. You're going to pay more rent outside. So she actually had to go and work in a factory in Jurong. So in that way, we were affected money-wise. Plus, she had to work longer hours and take the bus and come back. Not so easy as it was in Naval Base. So we just managed and grew up, and I managed to finish my O levels and did my A levels, and then after that I had to come out to work. But I still had my younger brother and sister who were studying and going through school.
You've got a lot of things.
Yeah, and my mom actually was asked to go to Britain. Means, they gave them the British citizenship or something. But she said if she goes there, she'll be alone. And with 3 small kids, 3 teenagers, well, how is she going to manage? So she decided to stay back in Singapore. Whereas my uncle, who had 4 sons, uncle and auntie with 4 sons, migrated to London and they lived there, and they are quite well-to-do or did well in a way. So in that way affected us. Why did the British go? And we had to change our lifestyle and we have to adapt, and everything was haywire.
Yeah. Alfred?
Yeah, Kansing, I would term it as one of the darkest days in naval base when the British decided to pull out. There was a lot of uncertainty in a lot of families, as both Viju and Archie mentioned. But what was good, Kansing, was that Sembawang Shipyard then transitioned into a commercial shipyard. So a lot of people found jobs actually in Sembawang Shipyard. For example, the police, there were about 500 personnel during the British time, and some of them joined Sembawang Shipyard. And during that time also, I think Singapore was embarking on its industrialization program. And there were a lot of shipyards springing up in Singapore. And I remember my dad went to work for American Marine in Jurong as a hospital assistant in the in their clinic. Many of the inspectors found jobs in hotels. They became security managers in charge of operations in hotels. So there was quite a good transition, I would say. The saddest part, I think, of closing the base was missing our friends whom we bonded, from the time we were born. In my case, I managed to keep, as I mentioned earlier, in touch with a lot of the base boys, so to speak, because I played soccer till the age of 60, and then got into chat groups. So I still do keep in touch with people I grew up, not only in the hospital quarters, but also in naval base. I think the bonds of childhood are something that is very difficult to be erased. Yeah. People like Archie, people like Viju, your brothers, their sisters. A certain feeling when we meet each other, I must say, which is quite different when meeting other people. And the people who grew up in the base had a sense of obligation, I would say, to each other. If you say you were from the base, they would always give you a special treatment, so to speak. I think Dr. Singh, who was our first doctor that we produced from the naval base, cited an example where when he was a doctor in KK Hospital, a lady from the naval base came to his clinic insisting, that she wanted to see him. She had not made an appointment, and then there was a ruckus, and then doctor came out, and then she told doctor, I was from the naval base, I know you, and that was it. And she became doctor's patient, and doctor looked after her pretty well and treated her until she got cured. And for that matter, even the other professionals like successful lawyers like Haridas, you must have heard of Subhas. They too, if somebody from the naval base had a problem and went to see them, they would always entertain them. And those links, they actually continue to this very day. So that was something I think very, very unique about living in naval base.
When the British left, right, in the late 60s,
Yes.
was your father still working or was he affected?
No, he was affected. I think towards the end of 1971, all of them were told, we are living, you all won't be having a job. So I think my father got some money for his long service with the British, and I think I think Transit Road they closed down in 1971. I think the British left maybe after the Singapore Armed Forces took over from them. I think maybe 72, 70 during that time they took over. But I think the retrenchment was happened during the December 1971. I remember all the staff were told, "No, there's no more job."
Right. Your father received the golden handshake.
Yes,
Right.
correct. Yeah.
Right. How did he feel about the British pullout?
Oh, of course. I mean, after working with the British so long, they give him alternative job, but if somebody feel that he's already in his mid-50s, he feel that now it's enough. I rather not take up a second job. So he didn't take up a second job.
Did he receive that offer? Because as you said, British subject to go to London.
Yeah, there was. There was an offer, and many of them took up the offer, But my father didn't take up because the seven of us in Singapore, all of us were studying here, So it would be a big change for him, So my father never took up the offer before to stay in Singapore. But many of them got the offer, they left for London, especially during the period 1972, 73. Many of them left. They were from naval base as well as from the BOD.
Right. At the time, how old were you?
I was doing my national service, in 1976. I did my national service in 1970. 1969, 68, I was still in school. So
you were about
yes. So I just enrolled myself.
18, about 18 at the time.
I went for national service at the age of 18. Yes.
Do you remember, when the British began to pull out and Malayalis, some of them went away, either to UK or some of them returned to India, right?
India, yeah, many of them left to India, so yes.
Do you remember that the area began to change?
Say again?
The area, the Nisun area, the Transit Road area began to change.
Of course, yeah. Firstly, I think there are a lot of improvement. All those bars and all this disappeared during the late 70s. All those, once the British left, I still remember all those gully bars, and there were no more there. And a lot of development. I remember there was a rubber factory there. The factory disappeared. Nisun Theatre was there until the mid 1970s. A lot of changes, and the whole area was. They have a community center. I remember Nisun. The community center was opened in 1965, and those days I used to go there. National Library. They used to come, bring in a van. They used to bring books to the library, to the Nisun Community Center for us to borrow. So every Wednesday we used to go borrow books from the library. Not in this line, the library is a van, and with all the books there, and we used to return.
Where was the community center?
This is along Nisun Road.
Along Nisun Road, which
Yes,
way?
yes.
Towards the Sembawang Air Base?
No, it's the other way. It's good towards Thompson Road.
Towards Thompson Road.
Nearby. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's just walking distance from my house. I still remember I attended the opening of the community center. I think it was opened by MP. I think it's one Ong. I can't remember my MP at that time. So we used to go and they used to have a lot of activities there. They used to have all this joget dancing and all this. I still remember seeing some of this. And there was a lab. I mainly go there to borrow books from the library.
Okay. Did you do your national service at Nisun?
Yes, I was there.
You were there. Okay.
I went in July 1970. I was living in Nisun. I was there. My ROD was in 1972. All the while I was there in Nisun. Only in 1975, we got another house in Clemency Avenue. We shifted over there. Otherwise, all the while we were in Nisun.
Well, your camp is just walking distance.
Yeah. When I was a softie, it was a very, very long distance from Nisun to softie. During my
after the BMT, you mean?
After the BMT, yes. After the BMT, I joined the Port of Singapore Authority. I was there for the next 30 years.
Right. Yeah, I've also talked to you about that. And also, there were many Malayalis there as well. Right?
Yes. True. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. A lot of them, especially all of them are storekeepers. During the I'm talking about the PSA. During the early 1950s. Many people from India, came down. They took up a job as clerks and storekeepers and all this, And even in those days in the PSA, you see the unions, even the cooperative societies. You can find many of them, in the management committee of these cooperatives and unions. That was during the 1950s.
That's right. I mean, Malayalis, although a very small population, were very much a big part of the professional life and the political life of Singapore.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. They were more. They're quite good. They're quite good at writing and writing skills, and most of them who came from. They had some education. They can read and write English quite well. That's why they managed to get jobs in the PSA and even this under the British. That could be a factor.
Were your parents worried when they heard about the British moving out?
I think we were already poor, so it doesn't make a difference. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't remember them talking about being worried. Because now when I look back, and there was 1 year in 1973, there was 1 year, there was a very severe recession, and I went through that. It was a severe recession. But then I realized that we were just poor. So whether recession or not, it really didn't affect us because we were just like that. Yeah. So I think that was the situation.
Yeah, that was the oil shock, right?
I do not know. I can't remember. But I look back, I I didn't realize I lived through that recession. I was already a very young lady then. I'm not an adult yet, but I should know all these things. I didn't feel it.
So subsequently, when you all moved out, by the way, where did you move to?
Moved to Chai Chi.
Okay.
The villages, most of them moved to Chai Chi because that was the area allocated to the villages.
The HDB lah, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. I just had a episode recently with Yo Hong Ing. He stayed in Kampong Chai Chi, and then later on the family moved into the HDB flats.
In Chai Chi as well? I remember the old Chai Chi compared to the new Chai Chi. Yes. Yeah. Also, when I take a bus to school, I had to pass that evening.
Right. And what did your parents do after they moved out in terms of their work?
My mother became a babysitter, and my father continued doing his cobbling job because he enjoyed having something to do. So he still would take a bus, go back there.
Oh, go back to the shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
And do his, half a day, spend there doing his shoe repairing business. Yeah.
Did he talk about whether the business there was affected, by the pullout?
No, it didn't affect him at all because it's during those days when these things are happening. He already lost his shop. But certainly it affected the livelihood of the shopkeepers then.
Yeah. I mean, did you find that, if you did go back to Changi Village after the pullout, after you all moved out, that Changi Village had started to decline as a place?
Decline as in...
you said earlier that it was a bustling place. Did you find that began to disappear after the British left?
Of course, there's nobody around. People are just like barely surviving, and many move.
So does this mean there were fewer shops, or there was less activity going on? Was this quite clear?
Yes, it's very obvious that there's less activity. Yeah, the shops, I think more or less the same in number. So I think you find that the shops are all transformed into this. If you go there now, those for people who go there for picnics and staying in the bungalow, those government has not of bungalow houses for civil servants. Yeah, so it's a weekend place. Then they have selling fishing tackle and all these things. Yeah, more for people who are going there for fishing. They are replaced by many of the shops. They don't have those proper shops that serve family and serve people. Not many.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I mean that's true, I guess. But I think also interesting because Changi Village, right? Unlike the others that you mentioned, Chong Pang Village disappeared mostly, right? And then Jalan Kayu, we had a previous interview on the podcast. You also talked about the kind of disappearance of Jalan Kayu after the British left. But Changi Village still remains part of our memory, right? That still we still use the name Changi Village today, and we still have this notion that even today, right, Changi Village, although changed, the shops are catering to new clientele, as you said, it still conjures up this image of an idyllic, a remote place, very different from the rest of Singapore, right? Do you think so?
Definitely. Okay, I haven't shared one thing. I forgot about it now that you brought it up. Changi Village they call it Changi. We don't call it Changi Village. Changi Beach. Used to be a resort area. Weekends full of people. And they have agogo, they have band, they have dancing, the agogo dance on the beach. And they have, it's a thriving business, and then all the hawkers will be like going there to set up stalls to sell things, temporary ones. And it is a place to go to. I mean, many of my friends, although they don't live in Changi, they remember Changi because they went there for this and that and that. And of course, going to Pullout Upin, those days, people go to Pullout Upin to do something, not like now, for fun. So that, it is a thriving place. So people remember, even though they don't live there. And you have this beach to go to. Then there was a Changi fisheries along the beach. At one point, we do some research on fishes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was there.
The resort, though, was after the British left, wasn't it?
Which resort?
You mentioned the Changi Beach.
When I say Changi Beach, when I say it's the resort, means it's a go-to place during weekend. People just flock Changi. Those days, people don't travel that much outside Singapore.
Yeah, but was this before or after the British left?
It was during when I was growing up there.
When you were there. Okay.
Yeah. In the 1960s, it's a thriving place. You see a lot of people coming in buses, and even like people staying in Asokan. When we talk about Changi, they remember going there to do this and that.
But I want to go back to Jalan Kayu. So when you began to work and working life began for you, family as well, were you still staying at Jalan Kayu?
Yes. I was staying in Jalan Kayu until 1974. But a lot of development took place, and we were moving around kampung houses, and people started moving into HDB estates, for the development. So I was staying in Jalan Kayu until I moved out in 19. It was in end of 74 or beginning of 75. No, I would say beginning of 75.
Right. And this is, of course, the tail end of the British pullout from Singapore.
Yes. In fact, they already pulled out by then,
They pulled out by then already, yeah?
Yes.
Do you still remember the first time you heard the news that the British were leaving?
I heard about it. I can't remember exactly when, but I was in 390 and we heard that the British are pulling out because my chief tax was a RAF proper service personnel. Normally, chief tax is a chief technician. He's the one in charge, and normally above him they've got a flight sergeant and one officer. They were telling that they'll be moving, and some of them will be repatriated back to UK soon. Their terms of tour will be cut short. So we heard about it. And we were wondering what's going to happen to us as well, Yeah, I was in Slata 390. We were also told that they will move us around to other areas where they need the manpower until such time alternate employment can be sought. So yes, I got it.
I know in Sembawang Naval Base, a lot of the Malayalis, the Indians left, because they were British citizens. Was that an option for your family?
No, because not for my family, but those who worked in areas later, so long as you work there for 4 years and more, you're given an option. You can go to UK, they give you a British passport. At the same time, they try and get you a job over there, And normally the job is in either Ford or Postal Services. And they did offer that. Some of my friends took that option and left. Some family members, if you are married, the whole family are given that chance. If you are single, you alone get given that chance. So some of them did go. Whether they made the right decision, I'm not so sure. In hindsight, some of my friends in later years, because of winter, the cold, they did share their regrets that they should not have made the decision.
Yeah, right. Some of them would have left because they didn't think Singapore would offer a good future for them.
Yeah. I mean, in the early 70s, things were, we were still living in probably a third world country, trying to come out of it. But I remember there was one visit in 390 ME, I was there, and the late Mr. Lee Kuan Yew came to the base. He went through the 390 ME electrical bed I was working in, right through and all that. At that point in time, we did not realize the vision he had.
and neither did we realize the first G leader's vision then. But thank God now we're okay today.
Yeah. What was your view at the time? Did you believe in Singapore at the time? Did you know?
No, I don't think so. I was matured enough, you know, because I was only in my 20s, you know, so I was still a youngster. To me, if I get another job, I'll get another job, you know. Although I did had an offer, uh, I had an option to join Singapore Airlines because they were also looking for people with the aviation background, and also had an option with Shell. So I thought getting another job may not be a difficult thing for me, I thought. So I didn't think very seriously what's going to happen next.
Tell us how did Jalan Kayu change as a result of the British pullout?
I think those affected, I would say, economically, because they were basically very reliant on British personnel, were the shops which were more or less catering for them, you know, catering for them. So I think they felt the pinch. And second, when just about the same time, when redevelopment started to take place, people were being resettled. The shops were the badly affected ones, and people from the kampongs were all resettled. Most of them in the earlier batch in Jalan, Toa very few. Those in Seletar and Jalan, but majority of them were settled in Ang Mo Kio. So when they moved out to these satellite towns, in the shops, most of the shops were affected because there were no people there to support them, and they started to demolish them. The markets and all moved on.
Were you one of the last families to leave?
No, I because they were still there when I got married and moved out in '74.
Right.
But people were still staying there for a year or two, then they all moved out. But some families moved out much earlier than us. So I asked my parents.
Right. And this happened to all the villages, you know, that were outside the British bases, isn't it? Changi village, Chongpang village.
Yes, I think most. In fact, probably I think the greater development was, I would say, Seletar and Changi. I'm not sure was Naval Base. Naval Base could be as well. But definitely Seletar was before Tengah, slightly before Tengah.
Right. And all these villages sort of, would you say they declined, you know, and they began to diminish?
Yeah, I think it's a gradual, because there's no one there to patronize. You know, since the people are not there, the shops are not patronized, except for one or two eateries, you know, food shops like Taysevi and all used to be there, restaurants and all. For most of the other commodity shops, you know, groceries and provision and all that, they all moved out.
So if we go to Jalan Kayu today, what are the remnants? Is there anything that still reminds you of those days?
I would say the double-story building. I mean, those days of 50s, double-story buildings. And anything after that, then none of the shop houses are there. And those below south, which is south of the double-story buildings, are all new buildings. So that doesn't really remind me of the old Jalan Kayu.
The shop houses are still around? Are they still around?
Yeah, they're still around.
But none of
These were built in the 60s, in early 60s.
Okay.
Mid to late 60s.
Right. But none of the businesses are still around.
Oh, the businesses are in these new shops. You know, there's a paint job. I think there's a shop selling puta, a couple of bakote restaurant. There's a Jerry restaurant, Western restaurant. Paint shop, egg shop selling eggs now.
Do you mean they were around in the 60s and they're still around today?
No. Some they're all new owners, new proprietors.
Owners. Right.
Yeah.
the businesses that moved out, did they continue their business elsewhere for some time?
Not I know of, because I really think some from the market stalls and all that, they moved to Seletar Hills. They demolished the market, they built a market in Seletar Hills. Some moved there, but when this market was demolished in Seletar Hills, they all moved out. So I can't collect anyone took their business elsewhere.
Where did your Cantonese neighbor move to?
Well, I don't talk from there. The one was my immediate neighbor.
It was quite hard to keep in touch with your
Yeah,
former
those
neighbors.
days, yeah, correct, yeah.